Hi everyone. Well, I've had my victory for a couple of months now. I thought I'd do a little video on what I love about it, what was not so good, and what could be better. So I'll get right into it in no particular order. And there it is, a 2013 Arlen Ness Custom, one of 200 made worldwide. I believe there's 3 in Australia. I don't know how accurate that is, but I know of 2 others. This one was originally sold in Perth, and someone bought that from a dealer in Perth, up in Darwin. He had it for a short time, and I bought it from him. I flew up to Darwin and rode it back from Darwin. It was about 1,500 kilometres, and I did about 1,200 kilometres from Catherine to Alice Springs in a day, and I found it very comfortable. It's a great bike, great touring bike, great bike for the open roads where they're reasonably straight. So I'll get right into it. Some of the things I don't like. Well, the weight. It's about 400 kilos. It's pretty heavy. If it wasn't, if you have to maneuver it around, it's a bit tricky. You have to think about it all the time. Some of the other things I didn't like about it when I got it, it had the Arlen Ness seat on it, and it had the Arlen Ness metal hand grips. Both of those I've changed. I found the Arlen Ness seat, while it looks really good, isn't all that comfortable for the rider. And the metal hand grips, while they look very stylish, not very good on a long trip. Limited storage space. I've seen on other people's videos that they've complained about the storage space. Well, I have to agree with that. The side boxes don't have a lot of space. They look like they would, but they don't. Although, if you're going on your own, I guess there's plenty of room for clothes and stuff like that. But if you're taking your missus and you're going on a 3-week tour, she's going to take up most of the space with her clothes and shoes. I can tell you that for nothing. The fuel filler. The fuel filler is a bit tricky. Because it has twin tanks, it's got this got a tank in each side. I'll just open it up. Here's the filler in here, okay, and must be air getting trapped in it, because when you're filling it up, when you get to the last few litres, you have to really rock the bike a fair bit to get the air out, to fill it right up to the bottom of the neck. Generally for riding, that's probably not a problem, but if you're on a long trip and you need to maximise your distance, you want to make sure your tank's full. So that's a bit of a nuisance when you're at a gas station. It takes a little while to fill. As long as you do it slowly and make sure you get all the air out, it's not a problem. Just something to be aware of. I've seen other people complain about that as well. The other thing that I find really a bit annoying is the clutch. The clutch is very heavy. It's the hydraulic version. I see a lot of people complain about the cable version being really heavy and breaking cables. This one's got the hydraulic version, which is basically the same mechanism as the cable, but it's got a hydraulic piston pulling it open. Right? So sort of a hybrid system. But the lever's got no adjustment. Unlike the brake, that does have a bit of adjustment. The standard dial for having it in and out. That works fine, and I can get that where I want it. You can't do that on the clutch. So the clutch is very heavy and it's a little bit hard for me to reach. I've got to move my hand to actually reach the lever and operate the clutch. On a long trip, probably not really a problem, but if you're in stop-start traffic, I reckon your hand will get pretty sore. Something else I've noticed is the heat off the exhaust. Just here, around this sort of S-bend, dogleg thing, your inside calf, when it gets really hot. When I was riding it back from Darwin, I got quite a bad burn on the inside of my leg. So you've always got to wear boots or be mindful of it. What I'm going to do is it's still got the standard mufflers on it. I've got a stage 1 muffler kit on order. When I put that on, I'm going to wrap that inside of that pipe underneath the heat guard with some heat-proof exhaust tape, and hopefully that'll alleviate that a bit. Some things that could be better, there's no handlebar adjustment. Although the handlebars are in a reasonably good spot, there's no adjustment. So for height or angle, not quite perfect for where I sit on the bike, but reasonably good. I've never had a bike yet where I've been completely happy with where the handlebars sit. I've often changed them. Of course, you can't change these easily, so there you go with that. Another thing I found is the location of the cruise control. It's a little bit hard to reach, and I quite often have to take my eyes off the road to make sure I get my fingers on the right button. So that's a bit of a nuisance. Could have been thought out better. I guess it's a 2013 model, you know, things have progressed a lot with electronics and that sort of stuff, and all the bikes these days have an integrated switch block. But anyway, that's just a minor criticism. It works really well. One of the things I really love about the bike is its cruise control works really well. And on the other side, similar setup for the volume controls for the stereo. Not that I use the stereo much, but when I do, again, same deal. You got to move your fingers and have a look at it. Could be better. And another thing that's a real pain is access to the rear wheel. As you can see, pretty hard to get there and check the tyre pressures, check everything else is tight. You've really got to put it up on a jack and have a good look around under there. The belt adjustment's not that bad, but again, as you can see, you know, you have to get down on the ground, you have to lie down. That could have been better. And access generally is not that easy to get at things. To get at the front headlight adjustment, you've got to take a whole lot of panels off here to change the globes. It's very, very hard to get your hand up in underneath in the back there to get at things. It's pretty hard to get at the battery. The battery's down the bottom at the front here, in there. Pretty hard to get at that. Certainly really hard to change. You've got to take a whole lot of the plastic guards off to get the battery in and out. Yeah, generally speaking, to do anything, there's a lot of stuff you got to take off if you have to do any major work yourself. And if you don't do it yourself, you got to pay someone else to do it. Now, some things I really like. I really like the dash generally. It's a really well laid out dash. It's easy to read. Yeah, you've got a really good fuel gauge on the left. It's very accurate. Each one of the increments is about 40 k's. You get about 400 k's to the tank, give or take. On the right hand side, we've got voltmeter, which seems to be reasonably accurate, and you've got your tacho and you've got your speedo, and in the middle you've got your trip control, you've got time, and you've got temperature, and you've got a gear indicator. And you can scroll through the trip control You've got trip 1, trip 2, average kilometres per litre, average speed, average range to empty, instant kilometres per litre, time in operation since the last reset, and odometer. The tank holds 6 US gallons or 22.7 litres, and it's got a 1 gallon reserve, which is 3.8 litres. That gives you around about 400 k's range depending on how you're riding, which is pretty useful. And this is a big bike, as I said at the beginning, about 400 kilos. Once it's up and rolling, great. You don't notice the weight so much. Those twin tanks being low down make a big difference for that. However, as I said before, manoeuvring it around at standstill, especially if you come to a sudden stop. You know, those times when you don't think you've got to stop and then all of a sudden you have to stop suddenly. They're the times you can get yourself into trouble. One thing that's really good about this bike is the side guards that are incorporated. You've got one here at the back on either side, and these ones here are solid metal and attached to the frame. And what that does, if you ever look on YouTube on some other videos, if the bike can fall over to about 45 degrees and it won't go any further. Obviously not much use in a crash, but if you just tip over when you've come to a stop or overbalance or something, really good. Stops the bike from getting damaged and a lot of embarrassment. The other thing I like about it is the trip computer. The trip computer is really good. It seems reasonably accurate, gives you a lot of good information, as I scrolled through before. The only thing is when the low fuel light comes on, as with any of these older trip computers and even the modern ones, the range to empty stops working, which is just when you need it. But like I say, if you know when you go under reserve, the yellow light comes on. That's very accurate. I've found it to be really accurate so far. You can judge how many Ks you're going to get. You get about, I don't know, about 50, 60, 70 Ks depending on how you're riding. I wouldn't go more than about 50 Ks because you never know how much fuel you can actually pick up in the bottom of the tank. So you can judge your distances pretty well on a trip. The other thing I love about this bike is the comfort. It is comfortable. I've had sports tourers, sports bikes, trail bikes, all sorts of bikes over the years. I've never thought I'd own something like this, but this is comfortable, and it's really comfortable for my wife as well. Yeah, really good. I'm going to look forward to doing quite a few trips in the coming months and years. Hopefully I'll have it for a long time and get to enjoy it. Something else I really like about it is the trunk. While I said the side panniers aren't very big, the trunk is ginormous. Oh, there you go. You can get 2 full face helmets in there and shut it, no worries. It's got a little light there, so when it's on, it works like a car light. You know, open the trunk, comes on, and shut the trunk, goes off. Underneath, okay, here's the light. I'll just turn that on. There's the light, and there's a 12-volt charging port down here in the back as well, so you can charge things up in your top box when you're riding along. I'm sure that'd be handy. Also, if you had a 12-volt pump, that'd be handy as well. Underneath here, you've got a place to put all your tools, which is cavernous. Alright, I've got all my tools in here. You can see, it goes right down. It's a good, I don't know, foot in the old Imperial to maybe 1/3 of a metre of space in there where you can put all your tools and things. So there's everything in there I'd need for a roadside breakdown. within reason. I mean, you know, if you break a belt or something, you're not going to be able to fix it. And there's another 12 volt in the glove box down there. Whoop, if I can get my hand in there, just there. But you can only charge things in the glove box as well, because the cable won't come out around it unless you drill a hole or something. I'm not going to do that. I suppose I could run the cable through that grommet, but that's a bit of work, which probably isn't necessary. So this is before, I guess, things had USBs and stuff like that. It's got the Arlen Ness upgraded stereo, which is supposed to be better than the standard one, although I wouldn't know, because I've ever heard the standard one, and I haven't don't really listen to this much, although it does work quite well when you've got the screen up. You can hear the stereo quite well. It's got a it's got a Bluetooth adapter here as well, so I can sync it to my phone or a Bluetooth device and play music through there. It doesn't have to just be a radio. That's quite good. That's quite good too. And I put the Oxford heated grips on. There is a Victory heated grip setup, but the Oxford ones are better, and there's a lot of parts you can't get new anymore, that being one. You can get a lot of second-hand parts from wreckers and things, but you can't get new parts all that easily, certainly not new accessories like you used to be able to get. So there you go. It's a great bike. I really like it. I'm glad I bought it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers. Bye bye.